Today we're just showing you how to change out your existing Norweld cylinder. We're going to take out the old and we're going to install your new, either your Talon system or your new Bilox system. We need a few tools required for this, so check out what we need. Carry out the install. We need a 7mm and an 8mm extended socket, a 22mm spanner, just grab yourself a shifter and a number 2 Phillips. This video is showing you how to change out either a central locking version. If you've got one of these, which is the non-central locking version, just fast forward through the central locking removal process. By taking off the black outer housing, which has just got the M7. Just remove the black cover. Remove this number 2 Phillips head screw. So we'll just remove it completely. Going to remove these 2 M8 nuts now, the little nylocks, and that's going to get our central locking mechanism out of the way. And this will just drop out of the way with this little arm, and that can now just hang. Now it gives us full access to the actual locking unit itself. So anyone who doesn't have the central locking, you don't have to worry. It's just now that you want to be focused. We've already taken the 2 M8s out of here, so we're just going to remove the other 2 M8s. And that's removed. We're just going to push straight up and out. And now we've got that in our hand, and the best way to do this is just sitting on a workbench because you've got free access to it. It's much harder to try and hold this, undo the nut and balance things. So you'll see what I mean when we put it on a bench. It's easy and sitting flat on a bench. We're just going to undo the first nut there, just loosen that off and lift the handle down. That way we can just push this lock straight out through the front. And that's going to come straight out like that. Taking your new cylinder, we'll undo the locking nut and remove this piece. You'll notice there's a little stainless steel, a little plate in there, and it's got little locating tabs. So there's 4 of those, and you'll see where that goes. So that has to go in and lining up these. That's going to stop the barrel from spinning. Holding your barrel this way so the little U piece is sitting down. We're going to now push that straight through the hole. We want to tilt it on its side, and why we tilt it on its side is so we can actually get this piece on first, and then we want to get the nut on. Because once it's in there, we can't get anything in and to lift it over. So we'll push the barrel the whole way in. This is all sitting right where it needs to be. And we're just pushing this plate all the way right down to then get our locking nut. And make sure it's straight, of course. We don't want to do any cross threading of anything. And before we do it up too tight, we want to actually come back and look at it and make sure that we've got a perfectly round, even gap, because then we know that little stainless steel plate where it had the little notches at 6 o'clock, 9 o'clock, 3 o'clock and 12 o'clock, that's now positioned our barrel in exactly the right location. So coming back down to it, now all we're doing is just do up that 22mm nut by a finger tight. Grab yourself your 22mm and nip that up. That's nice and tight, that's fixed in there, that's never coming out. Before you go any further, we want to actually make sure that it actually does work and it's nice and free. So we know the handle is in the lock position. So we're going to insert the key and you'll hear a nice stick clink. Now we can actually unlock the door, turn it back the other way and it's locked. So we'll leave it in the unlock position now and we'll go back and reinsert it. So we'll drop it straight back in. Making sure you're not rubbing on any of the threads because we don't want to damage the threads at all. That's in there, it's right where it needs to be. In the reverse of how we took it off. So we'll start with the bottom ones first, because then at least we've secured the whale tail back on to the actual door. Same again on the other side. Put your little flat washer on, your little nylock, and again I can't stress enough, make sure that you put it on without cross threading. For the people out there without the central locking, all you've got to do now is replace the two washers and the two M8 nuts and put those on, and then you're done and finished. Those of you with a central locking, best way is to push that across. You'll hear a nice distinct click. Then we can bring this up, lining up this thread here, putting it in on the angle, and then that there will just sit straight under. So just putting on the flat washer, and the little M8 nut. Sorry for the fat fingers. And holding that in place. And we're going to do this one up the whole way. That'll actually hold the central locking unit into place, which now frees up your hands. And then we'll just do the last one up as well. Just doing up the last nylock now. Get it up, get it nice and tight. Taking the Phillips head screw again now, so we're just going to insert that a little way. Once you see it protruding through, now we can actually just push that little arm straight across, and we'll do up this screw. That's now connected the central locking unit to the back of the cam. But not least, we're going to reinstall the black plastic cover to protect the cable so there's no damage. I always install this corner first, because you can see where that goes. You can line it up with a hole, line up the other one, and move those little cables, making sure it's on nice and straight, making sure you put the washer on first, and then the nylock, and keeping in mind this is an M7 one. And don't forget just to re-tighten those. There you've got yourself a key-to-lock system on a high security key that you're the only key holder for.